data leaks, extortion, and 3 dead. This is the Discord incident and how one man got Discord banned in the entire country of Turkey. Now, this whole story is an accumulation of problems that happened throughout Turkey's recent history, and pertaining to this video, the most important problem with Turkey right now is femicides. Turkey, as well as a handful of other countries, have an increasing problem with violence against women, specifically murders against women, which are known as femicides. In fact, in just August of 2024 alone, 33 women were murdered by men and 24 died under suspicious circumstances in Turkey. And the reason why this is such a big problem is because back in 2011, there was something called the Istanbul Convention. Now, the Istanbul Convention is the first legally binding instrument which creates a comprehensive legal framework and approach to combat violence against women. The Istanbul Convention is designed and focused on preventing domestic violence, protecting victims, like providing women and children with specialist support services and shelter, and finally, the last thing of the Istanbul Convention is that it's focused on prosecuting accused offenders. And the way that they prosecute accused offenders is that they make stuff like stalking and psychological violence all the way up to sexual assault and honor killing all criminalized. So when you sign the convention, you add these as illegal things that you cannot do. And the thing with the Istanbul Convention is that back when it was signed in 2011, Turkey was actually the first country to sign the convention. Now, taking a look at this map, these are the countries in Europe that have done something with the Istanbul Convention. The countries in blue have signed and enforced the Istanbul Convention. The countries in purple have signed the Istanbul Convention, but they don't actually enforce the policies. And any orange or gray countries did not sign the Istanbul Convention. And you'll notice that Turkey is in red, and it's not for a good reason. Because on the 20th of March 2021, Turkey has unilaterally withdrawn from the Istanbul Convention. According to the current president of Turkey, the Istanbul Convention, which was originally intended to promote women's rights, was hijacked by a group of people attempting to normalize homosexuality. The Turkish president is saying that LGBT people are brainwashing people with the Istanbul Convention, and being part of the LGBT group is incompatible with Turkey's social and family values, which is why we decided to withdraw from protecting women as a whole, because apparently all women are gay according to Turkey. And Turkey withdrawing from the Istanbul Convention didn't make anything better, and that is the kindling that led to the incident. On October 4th, 2024, 3 people died. We have Sami Çelik, who is a 19-year-old male who worked as a butcher. We have Ayşe Nush Halil, a 19-year-old girl, and we have Iqbal Uzunaj. My pronunciations are horrible, I apologize. So on this day at around 3:30 p.m., Semi went to Ayşe Nush's home, and after entering the home, he killed her by slitting her throat. Now, shortly after the first murder, Semi met with Iqbal near the historic city walls in Fatih. Now, there are images of Semi at the top of these walls that circulate around the internet, and what happened inside of these historic walls is that Semi decapitated and dismembered Iqbal's body. And as we will later see, this is fulfilling some sort of fantasy that Semi had. But after dismembering the body, Semi called the 19-year-old Iqbal's mother, claiming that her daughter's phone had fallen from the city walls. And as Iqbal's mother arrived on scene, hoping to retrieve the phone, Semi, with the decapitated head in hand, threw the dismembered head at Iqbal's mother, and then Semi soon after followed suit by jumping from the walls himself. During the investigation of this double murder suicide, it turns out that Semi had a history of psychological issues and some disturbing drawings. It turns out when the authorities were looking into this murder, Semi had a history of psychological problems and had been hospitalized 5 times over the past year due to mental health issues. And according to a police statement from Semi's father, he said, "When I entered the room, I saw drawings that resembled satanic figures. When I asked about them, he said, 'You wouldn't understand. Our generation's ways of thinking are different.'" And while police were searching the Çelik's residence, they found a notebook containing disturbing charcoal drawings of dismembered human figures, which eerily resemble how he committed the murders. Sami Çelik even had 3 prior criminal records and worked as a butcher, including these weird drawings, and also attempted self-bye-bye before. With all of these previous treatments at mental health hospitals, this was easily preventable. And instead of doing something that would actually protect women, they banned broadcasting the story about the murder, but it caused a public outrage. And on the next day, a whole bunch of men and women protested in front of the walls, claiming that Turkey needs to do something about the increasing femicide rates. And just to give you even more perspective on the situation, during this protest, 2 other murders happened against 4 women total. 6 women got murdered by men in a span of like 2 to 3 days. It's clear this is a pretty big problem. And as tensions were rising, things got even worse, because it turns out during the investigation, it was revealed that Sami Çelik was in communication with people called incels on a messaging app. After the incident, the police decided to launch a major surveillance nationwide after there was a whole bunch of supportive and praising posts that were spread on the internet. But what this showed people is that there's not just one completely batshit insane dude out there. There were groups of people who were batshit insane thinking that violence against women because they're women was completely okay. Given that Turkey withdrew themselves from the Istanbul Convention, people didn't trust the fact that Turkish police or authorities were going to do anything in terms of surveillance and trying to find these people that are being supportive and praising these femicides. It turns out people took to Twitter to share information and try to figure out the people that are behind these incel groups that are saying that it's okay to murder women. And it turns out the people that are doing this would record them doing it and stream it on Discord. They are recording themselves committing a crime and then it would be shared on the internet. There are videos of them calling the authorities, basically swatting someone, where they intentionally get a massive police response at someone's house to either scare them or try to get them murdered by a cop. There are also videos of them directly calling victims and extorting them. There's videos of these people getting minors to get nude on camera and say things for some sort of sick, twisted sexual fantasy. They forced a minor girl to pour alcohol on their private parts and then set it on fire. And it turns out the way these people got extorted and the reason why these victims were following these orders from random dudes on the internet was because the Turkish government completely failed to protect these kids. Because it turns out back in 2016, there was an article talking how Turkish authorities are probing a huge ID data leak. Now, not much came of it until a couple years later, where Turkish citizens' data harvested from government portal are being sold on March 8th of 2024. Turkey had this kind of government portal thing where you were required as a citizen to upload information, and someone hacked into it, stole all of that data, and started selling it to people. It would be sold in a Telegram group for only 150 Turkish lira, or about 4.6 euros. And the data that you could get from buying this data breach are phone numbers, addresses, health records, bank information, business records. And the most worrying part about this is that this is not like a breach that happened. The data was being updated in real time, being actively harvested from eDevlet, which is Turkey's online government portal. And from the report, they said there was data that was shown as late as October 2023 on its homepage. And what malicious people would do is they would use this information to extort people with it. For example, with a phone number and address, these people would call individuals, tell them that they know where they live, and if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna come to your house and kill you. But they'll also just say very simple stuff like, I'll call your parents and let them know what you're doing on the internet. That is enough to trick these kids into doing things like hurting themselves, or hurting others, or hurting their animals. And the worst part about this whole entire situation is that by a pretty big Turkish YouTuber, there was a video back in December 2022 talking about this data leak and how people are selling data and using it to extort people on Discord and on different social media platforms. He also showed that these people did credit card fraud, bought a whole bunch of fraudulent iPhones to resell them. These people were cyber criminals through and through and were found 2 years ago. But the problem just got worse because there was one video that was released that got the attention of almost everyone in Turkey. Just a day after the initial 2 murders, when everyone was shocked about all this happening, there was a video released on social media of a girl saying that she was blackmailed and her identity was compromised on Discord, which is why she harmed herself. In fact, this video was posted on Instagram. I'm here struggling to live and they come and threaten me, saying things like, I'll swat your house or something. They say, if you don't cut yourself, I'll send everything to your family. I'm trying to live with this fear. They constantly threaten me, saying that if I don't cut myself, then they'll do this or that. And just when you thought you had everything figured out, it turns out this video is completely fake. The person was allegedly part of the community. In fact, they tried to use this video and the murder of those 2 girls, the violent murder of those 2 girls, to try and advertise their Discord server, which they would use to extort women. The people behind these groups want to be known as evil. They want infamy. But it turns out they got a little bit more attention than what they wanted. Because according to a recorded conversation in the Discord server by one of my viewers, which translated it, which by the way, I think the viewer himself is self-snitching because he's been part of the group from a year ago, but he didn't tell me that. I had to figure it out myself. Regardless, these people are just completely mentally fucked. Let me just put it out there. According to their conversation, the guy, Nico, that is talking, said, we provided a good service and had a great time together. Recently, we've become a topic for 81 million people. The reason could be because we got a few donkeys beaten up or someone to cut their arms or legs, whatever. The loyalty video blew up on Twitter, and the news broke right when we were about to start a League of Legends stream on Kick. We were about to switch to the League of Legends stream, and suddenly I saw that we were trending on Twitter and everywhere. But what's important isn't really being famous. This is how we make our money, by blackmailing people. But clearly, it bothered a few bastards, so they made us public on Twitter. It seems our work has really gotten to some people. Those who compete with us couldn't keep up. That's why we're in this situation. Like I said, no one can intimidate or stop us. Because according to a tweet by the Minister of Internal Affairs of the Republic of Turkey, I don't know why politicians have to be on Twitter, but that's just a different day rant, our Ankara Police Department has determined that the person referred to as HZ Ibu Sehil from the administrators of the group named C31K, which is actively present on the Telegram and Discord social networking platforms, is a child's name EK and has been taken into custody. The person referred to as Arda Bateman has been determined to be a child named AT and has been taken into custody by our Istanbul Police Department. The most important thing about this whole entire thing. We will not show mercy to those who try to poison our society, especially our children and youth, who are the apple to our eye with their perverted thoughts on social media. We have a score to settle with the bullies who force our children to sexually abuse, those who tend to violence against women and spread hatred and grudge. No matter which hole you hide in the cyber world, our cyber patrols, cringe, will find you one by one and bring you to justice. Now, these two people that were arrested were moderators of the C31K group, but that's on top of 3 other arrests that occurred regarding this incident. Because on October 6th, they revealed that the video involving the blackmail of a young girl, the one we talked about, was staged, but as a consequence, the girl, who was identified, was taken into protective custody and interviewed with the assistance of a psychologist, and the person responsible for spreading the video, an 18-year-old named TD, was arrested in Ankara, and prior to these arrests, 3 other individuals, TD, MEO, and FT, were also detained for their involvement with a Discord group that operated under the name Haha. I guess they won't be laughing now in prison, but it's the cosmic irony we all love to see. Now, I have one more thing to say about this tweet, but just before I get into it, I want to say that this extortion unfortunately happens more than you would think on Discord. It's not something that is impossible to find. The issue, though, is that these groups have been operating for a while. Haha has existed for at least a year, if I recall correctly from the information that I have, and nothing happened to them until these murders happened and until people got upset. Law enforcement will move extremely slow unless there's a lot of press and pressure to speed things up. So when it comes to this stuff, as me being a YouTuber and picking ideas, either I cover this stuff and potentially ruin the investigation if there's one occurring, or I speed up the investigation. It's a coin flip that I don't want to make, which is why you don't see a lot of these videos, but it does happen quite a bit on Discord. On the bright side, though, the thing with this tweet that is extremely important that I want you to take away is that the people that were detained are children, a child named EK, a child named AT. These people are minors, and initially, there was a common misconception with a lot of these extortion groups that if you were a teenager doing this, if you were a minor, you would be invincible because you couldn't be charged by adult laws. But with this tweet, it's clear they're not showing mercy to these kids. Now, that's just Turkey, but I have heard through the grapevine that the US is maybe starting to do the same. Once there is a legal precedent, the speed that law enforcement can move is a lot quicker, so these people can get put where they deserve, in fucking jail. Despite all that, people are still angry. The fire is just too big. And with this public outrage and this focus on Discord, there was one final straw that broke the camel's back. Because it turns out during the investigation of Semih Çelik's double murder suicide, Ekol TV released a video recording that apparently was shot a year ago. And in this video, Semih is seen addressing a person. The video begins with the words, "Iqbal, I wanted to say goodbye to you in private. I am finally dying." After Çelik says that he apologizes for what he made her go through, he says, "But there's something I have to tell you. I came to kill you the day I saw you yesterday." And then he says that he has given up on it. This dude had a manifesto video from a year ago, and nothing happened. If this was reported and the Istanbul Convention was in place, this dude would be in jail and this whole entire murder would be prevented. So then the government decided to actually do something. Instead of signing back into the Istanbul Convention to protect women overall, both online and offline, on October 8th, 2024, the Minister of Justice of the Republic of Turkey made a tweet. Everything's a fucking tweet at this point. Upon the request of the Ankara Chief Public Prosecutor's Office, the Ankara First Criminal Court of Peace has ruled that all publications on the social media platform called Discord be removed from content and access to the specified URL addresses be blocked from Turkey due to the existence of sufficient suspicion that the crimes of child abuse and obscenity are being committed. So to solve the problem of these femicides that are happening throughout Turkey, the government decided to ban a chat platform called Discord because apparently that will fix everything. Now, if you're a younger person, you realize how stupid this is because Discord's not all completely bad, but you need to understand that a lot of the older people in Turkey are completely misled on what Discord is. According to one of my viewers, the opinion is that the ministers think that Discord and Telegram groups are exclusive and you need to be invited to register on Discord. They assume that if you want to be on Discord, you need to have a special invite link and not just discord.com/login and then you click on the register button and then you make an account. So they assume that everyone on Discord are these incel groups that hate women. And to further explain, another viewer of mine told their dad that they banned Discord and his dad said, good thing they got rid of that harmful app. In case you're not a young person and you don't know what Discord is just a chatting app. It's exactly how you can just go on your phone and text your grandma or your grandpa or just anyone. And I think the best part about Turkey banning Discord is the fact that it actually does nothing. If you block the app, you can just use a VPN to bypass it, which allows you to still use Discord as if nothing happens. All this ban against Discord actually does is make older people feel safe. People that don't understand Discord now feel like things are safe, but nothing has actually happened. But that's my opinion on the matter, and I think it's important to see what Turkey said regarding the ban, because the details that they give paint a little bit of a different story on what's going on. So if you spend some time digging into this and you ask the question, why did Discord get banned according to Turkish authorities, you get a completely different answer. Because looking at articles, the Transport and Infrastructure Minister said that the nature of the Discord platform made it difficult for authorities to monitor and intervene when illegal or criminal content is shared. The wording around this is making me think there's something else going on. In fact, security personnel cannot go through the content. We can only intervene when users complain to us about content shared there. And the reason for the ban is apparently Discord refuses to share its own information, including IP addresses and content, with our security units, and as a result, they were forced to block access. Now, the interesting thing about this is that there's actually a case very similar to this Turkey one that happened in Brazil. They had a case of extortion communities where kids were being extorted to visit other people's houses, and then there was the resulting horrendous crimes that occurred after that. But I covered all that in a previous video, and the thing that's important about that is that Discord gave a bunch of information regarding these users to Brazil. But why at this point now is Discord not helping Turkey regarding their situation with extortion? Well, to answer that question, you need to understand how Discord works with law enforcement. But generally speaking, there is a government request portal that any government can sign into to try and get information on Discord users. You need to have a government email, you need to fill in required fields in a web form, you need to make an application to get someone's information, and you need to upload a copy of any relevant documents, so a subpoena for information or a search warrant. A very important point that they have is that they will not comply with overly broad or vague requests. In fact, the cool thing about Discord, which I would praise, but I can't anymore, they have something called transparency reports, where they'll actually show you how many times law enforcement has reached out to Discord for information, and the reason why I can't praise this is because they stopped doing it in 2024. Awesome, I love not having transparency in a transparency report. But taking a look at the Q3 2023 transparency report, the important thing I want to look at is information requests. And you can see when it comes to the United States government, Discord, they get like 1,300 requests and they give 1,200 requests. However, when we get to international government information requests, that's where things look really horrible. Argentina, 2 requests, 0 produced. Australia, 12 requests, 0 produced. Produced basically means like, did they actually give the information? Just to make that clear. But you can see all zeros until we get to Brazil, and that's when the whole Brazil thing was happening. Out of the total of 186 requests, only 26 were granted because of Brazil. I looked through all the reports, and out of the ones that identify specific countries, Turkey only submitted 3 reports. 0 for 3, baby. They did not get any actual information from Discord. The reason why Turkey didn't get any information is something I can only speculate on, but this could either be governments refusing to follow any basic instructions that Discord lays out, which does happen. I've dealt with police agencies that are borderline brain damaged. Or the refusal to give information might be because of mutual legal assistance treaties. Law and all that stuff is really complex. Or this could just be Discord not doing anything. I do want to point out, though, that out of all the depressing stuff I just said in the last minute or so, that haha server, the one with the extortion, has been banned from Discord, and I'm pretty sure that all the messages have been archived for the courts. But there's actually one more thing that could be the reason why Turkey didn't get any information from Discord. Because in a BBC article talking about how Discord got blocked because Discord refused to share information, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure said that this is a completely closed system. You cannot enter and exit fix it as you wish. This makes it sound like Turkey wanted complete control and access to Discord servers, and Discord said no. And the thing is that this is not actually that much of a reach, because there's an article by the EFF, Electronic Frontier Foundation, that talks about how Turkey is doubling down on violations of digital privacy and free expression from 2020. It turns out Turkey implemented the emergency surveillance decrees after the 2016 coup that granted the Turkish government unrestricted access to communications data without a court order, which basically means they could go into any application and get information on it, which is basically government spying. Considering this happens in 2022, it's not a far reach that Turkey was trying to get complete access to Discord to, again, fulfill their major surveillance program, which also would majorly surveil on anyone that criticizes the Turkish government, which again, as a reminder, does not comply with Discord's guidelines of overly broad or vague requests. I feel like this is an issue of Turkey asking for everything and Discord saying, follow our fucking rules, you idiot. And in terms of Turkish government trying to spy on you and censorship in general, if you look at Turkey's Freedom on the Net 2023 score, it's 30 out of 100. It's actually classified Turkey as a country not free. And just to give you an example, Turkey banned Wikipedia for almost 3 years. They eventually ended the ban, and the reason why they banned Wikipedia is because, you know, Wikipedia, that basically tells you everything that has ever happened, refused to delete articles critical of Turkey's government. Now, getting back to Turkey not being free on the internet, I'm going to have this article linked in the description because it is absolutely ginormous. Looking at Score B1, limits on content. It turns out during the February 2023 earthquakes, the Turkish government blocked Twitter for 8 hours, ostensibly to combat disinformation about those incidents. What disinformation are you going to have from an earthquake? But the Turkish government blocked Twitter for 8 hours during an emergency, which hindered emergency rescue efforts as people have been using Twitter to try and call for help following the disaster. And the craziest thing I've seen on this article is Score B5 are online sources of information controlled or manipulated by the government or other powerful actors to advance a particular political interest. They got a score 1 out of 4. When you hear this you're gonna straight up just, I don't even know at this point. Ahead of the May 2023 general elections, pro-government disinformation was rampant online. The president shared a misleading video on social media depicting the CHP candidate standing alongside wanted terrorists. That'll show them. And an independent media report found that the AKP paid $10,000 to an Egyptian company to develop and promote the video. And it turns out, according to numerous reports, they have revealed that the ruling AKP party has enlisted an army of trolls, numbering around 8,000 individuals as of 2023 to manipulate online discussions, drive particular agendas, and combat government critics on social media. Oh, hi, honey, you just got home from work? How was your day at work? Oh man, it was tough. I had to talk teenagers online, but thank goodness the government's paying for it. So anyways, that's all I got in terms of the Turkey ban, but I just want to say that Discord has to get their shit together. This is only one of these extortion communities that's based in Turkey. I know 4 communities off the top of my head that are based in the US that do this exact same thing, and nothing has happened. So whether Discord is going to be proactive or reactive, we'll have to see. Make sure to kiss your mama. Bye-bye. Mwah.